So C.J. Stroud struggled in the wild card win at Pittsburgh on Monday. He had 5 fumbles, which were tied for the most in a playoff game in NFL history. Despite that, though, he became the 4th starting quarterback in NFL history to win a playoff game in each of his first 3 seasons. So how confident are you that C.J. Stroud will bounce back this week against the Patriots in Foxborough, Mina?
I'm not that confident, to be honest with you guys. First, I want to say, because you get to play with the Texans defense, he doesn't have to be great in any game. I really believe that this defense is so good, you really only need to put up like 20-plus points. That said, this Patriots defense is tricky. They're getting healthy at the right time. And if Nico Collins doesn't play, and it's looking like he won't, and Christian Gonzalez does play, you get a little bit worried about finding matchups. The Pats defense is vulnerable on the ground. The Texans do not have a good running team. Look, last week was a weird one for CJ because on one hand, he had those fumbles and made some absolutely befuddling decisions. On the other, he hit on some beautiful throws on 3rd down. And I think that's sort of where I'm at with him. He's capable of the really high-end plays in key situations, but he's a bit streaky, and I wouldn't be surprised, quite frankly, especially without Nico Collins, if we see more of that against New England.
Yeah, I'm confident in CJ because of the body of work. I totally agree with Mina's points of, listen, this Patriots defense, a lot of times when you watch them on tape, you're like, I don't really necessarily have a clear picture of what you're doing. Obviously, a very smart and well-coached unit. And no Nico's a big deal, for sure. But I do think that with CJ's body of work, I think some of the snafus that we had became a little bit more of the conversation. Once running up in the pocket after it, and all of a sudden it becomes a fumble. The interception down the red zone is probably the most concerning. But I do think that when you look at CJ and you go, over the course of your career, what are some of the calling cards of who you are? You're elite in the pocket when it comes to your pocket movement. That wasn't good the other night. I don't expect that to be the case. Again, you're outstanding throwing the ball downfield with your ball placement and accuracy. That was the case this past weekend. And so I just think of, one, the weather. We were there Monday going into the game. We're like, yo, this weather's going to impact the game. I'm confident that CJ rebounds. It concerns me. But knowing Higgins has stepped up, knowing Noel has stepped up, knowing Christian Kirk has stepped up, I think that we'll see a little bit more from a performance perspective what we're accustomed to with C.J. Stroud rather than, oh, my gosh, or you're keeping the New England Patriots in this football game.
Stephen A.?
I'm not that confident. I don't think that C.J. Stroud has looked like himself from the time that he first started in the league. I believe in him long term. We're just talking about this weekend. And I think going up to Foxborough, having to play in New England, with how exceptionally well coached they are, you can't afford to make the kind of mistakes he made and think that you're going to walk out victorious. It's one thing playing against the Steelers with an immobile quarterback like an Aaron Rodgers. It's another thing playing against a guy like Drake May, who's got some wheels on him and can move and can use his legs and run with the football, not just throw it. I do agree with Mina that you don't have to be great, but you certainly have to be better than what you were in Pittsburgh. I think he will be. The question is, if you don't have Nico Collins, I can't see you walking in to Foxborough, even with Christian Kirk at 8 receptions, 144 yards against the Steelers last week. I can't see him doing that without them having Nico Collins on the other side of the field to be worried about. So I'm of the mindset that, again, being without Nico Collins, which is expected, puts them at a clear disadvantage against this New England Patriots team. And it's certainly because I don't expect more from CJ, considering being without his best weapon and going up against a better team than the Pittsburgh Steelers.
On Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern, the Niners will travel to Seattle to play the Seahawks in the divisional round. It'll be the 3rd meeting all-time in the playoffs between these 2 division rivals. During the regular season, they split their 2 head-to-heads, with the road team winning each game. Now we talk X Factor, since we have seen this story before, twice at least this season. Mina, do you think Sam Darnold will be the X Factor in this game?
I do. I think he's the most important player in this game because I believe if Sam Darnold doesn't turn the ball over, the Seahawks will win. If he does, the Niners have a chance multiple times, especially. Going back and watching the Week 18 game between these two teams, obviously, which happened, the other thing that struck me, aside from the Seahawks defense completely dominating the Niners, was that the Seahawks coaching staff, the offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak, really tried to protect Sam Darnold. It was a game plan designed to protect him from making the sort of errors that have come up over the second half of the season. He had a 5.2 air yards per attempt, average depth of target, second lowest of the year. They were very run heavy, very successful doing so. Now he hit on a few shots off of play action when they got the looks they liked. I think that's what he's going to have to do in this game in some key moments. But for the most part, guys, they can reproduce, I believe, they can reproduce that Week 18 result as long as he doesn't turn the football over.
You agree, S.A.? Don't turn the ball over.
Well, I think the answer to the question is obviously Darnold because of the issues that she highlighted. But I'm just going to tell you, I was thinking about, Pearsall and obviously Jennings big time because George Kittle's going to be gone. And they're going to key on C-Mac. And so we know this is what they're going to do. And one of those receivers are going to have to step up and help out in order for San Francisco to have a chance to win this game. On the road, against that 12th man, against that top-ranked defense, you're going to have somebody that steps up outside of Christian McCaffrey. Because if I'm the San Francisco 49ers, I'm daring somebody else to beat me because I know that's exactly where Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan want to go all day, every day, running the football, catching passes out of the backfield, utilizing him the way that he did. He had 2 touchdowns against the Philadelphia Eagles last week. We know what Christian McCaffrey can bring to the table. But you also know that you could rely on George Kittle once upon a time. He's out now. And so one of those cats are going to have to step up in order for you to be effective offensively. In the 2 games with each other this year, San Francisco scored a combined 20 points in 2 games, 17 in one, 3 in the other. First game of the season, 17-3 just a few weeks ago. You got to put some points on the board. How are you going to do that? One of those cats got to step up.
Well, honestly, though, I was going to go with the running backs from Seattle because how is Sam Darnold the X factor? Like, he's not the X factor. He's legitimately the thing that stands in between Seattle and a Super Bowl championship. Period. Like, he's the most important factor in this game. But to me, it's about Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh because what we saw them do in Philadelphia was something that we felt improbable. We didn't think with that roster, especially after seeing George Kittle be injured, that they could score enough points. And Robert Saleh and this defense that 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, we watched Caleb Williams do whatever he wanted to do to him, right? Each player on that backside of that defense was like the village bicycle. Everybody got a ride, right? And so we thought we thought the next week, hey, what's Seattle going to do? They found ways to get stops in the red zone. There were turnovers on downs. They forced field goals. They made it difficult for them to score. They have to find a way to replicate that and get the ball back. And if you're Kyle Shanahan, you're stuck in this weird place of trying to generate points and trying to keep your defense off the field, knowing that Christian McCaffrey is the way that you do that, and that's what Mike McDonald and that defense will be keying in on you. And so for this, in my opinion, to even be a game, Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh are going to have to be at their very best to allow the San Francisco 49ers to compete.
Biggest X factor is Brock Purdy. I don't think there's a quarterback in these playoffs that has to play above their skis more than Brock Purdy. With Seattle, 1, they're the better team. 2, they're expected to win. 3, if you're the quarterback of Seattle, don't give the ball to the other team. Score 17 points, you're going to win the football game. Brock Purdy's playing without multiple people on the perimeter. Offensive line, we'll see how healthy Trent is. He was last week. I don't think there's a quarterback that has to outperform kind of the expectations in the playoffs more than Brock because this defense is so decimated. And yes, what Robert Saleh has done with this defense, tip of the hat. But talent is talent. The more talented and healthier team usually wins in this league in these playoff games. And so Brock Purdy, this is a team that was scored 3 last time they played. I think Brock Purdy's going to have to make 3 or 5 legit, holy smokes throws over the middle of the field where they just go right over a defensive back, or a linebacker's hands and right in front of a defensive back. And so for me, Sam Darnold is so far down the biggest X factor part of this matchup because of the matchup. I think Brock Purdy's going to have one of the best games he's played all year. I think Brock Purdy, if they somehow win, has to continue to have this run of, you watch a guy carry a football team that has been decimated by injuries. And so, biggest X factor, because this would be an upset of relatively significance, is Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I feel like he didn't carry them against Philadelphia, though. I thought Brock Purdy played well. Brock Purdy didn't play this game that you're speaking of in order for them to beat Philadelphia. So I don't necessarily think that that's what they need from him. Well, it was more schematically how they took advantage of Vic Fangio's defense.
Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, I would say outside of not turning the ball over, Sam Darnold has to capitalize on the red zone opportunities. Going back and rewatching, he missed a touchdown. They went 0 for 3 in the red zone in addition to missing field goals. Again, this defense is so good. It's just like Houston. You don't score a lot of points, but when you get those opportunities, Sam Darnold's going to have to hit those throws.
49ers, 7 straight wins in the divisional playoffs. They've been here before, and they were able to overcome it. We'll see what happens this weekend.